me, not you stupid bastard.
What the
I feel like that's all of us. Like, why isn't it third scale? Why not? Because
Yeah,
it's not possible.
I don't want that. I don't want that third scale.
Not yet, Danny.
How's it?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. How's it going, you guys?
It's going well, man. Good
Doing
Monday.
good, doing good.
Good.
It's good, man. Yeah. Today was my first time in a long time doing a stream by myself. I mean, like, it was like I always ask you guys, like in the chat or somebody, right, to join me for like a little bit. And today I was like, I'm so tired. I don't want to do this like later today. I'm just gonna do this now, like right after work. So I was like, put my boots on, started the stream, and I think it went pretty well. But like when I entered the show, I was like in the back room. I was like, oh, there's nobody to talk to.
Oh,
Wow. You hate to see it.
Yeah. But
That
it
was
cool.
today?
That was today, yeah. Right after work today. So like
the sales one.
statue
Oh,
sales,
okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I have a job, so it's tough.
I know,
Hey,
I know.
I was working and I still tuned in.
Well, that's because you work from where you're sitting right now, right?
Cece, I think, is on her way, so just give her a couple more minutes. But
Okay.
yeah. Sean, how's your day today? How's your Monday?
Definitely a lot better than last Monday. Definitely a lot better. Day actually went pretty quick. Kids were fun and funny and stuff like that. So, I mean, I enjoyed today. It was a good day.
That's good, man. That's like the first person I've ever heard ever say that on a Monday. So
Well, the day's
Hey,
not
well,
over.
you know
so-
what? It's because I have Christmas break on the way.
okay,
4 days.
okay.
Oh,
4
okay.
days we're on vacation. So
Hell yeah. That's nice. How
Lucky
about you, John? How's your Monday going?
Well, today is the exact opposite of what Sean just said. It was busy. It's getting really busy at work, and yeah, it was a pain. But the day flew. Glad to be here with you guys.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Glad to have you. How's the weather there anyway? Is it like
Oh,
snowing
cold.
yet? Or?
Yeah, we
Cold,
got some
yeah.
snow. Yeah, it was really cold today. Today was the first day I was at work and being like, damn. We got some snow, and apparently we're supposed to get a big blizzard here on Friday.
Oh, wow.
So we'll see.
My condolences.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We're safe in the club, so we're fine.
It's funny because like here it's probably the same. It's not
Yeah.
snowing or anything like that, but when you look outside, you're like, "Damn, it's cold." And
Yeah.
you're just looking outside.
You
you're
could
like,
just tell. You
Yeah.
could just,
My cat is just like near the window, and she's just like,
Oh.
you because like we're surrounded by trees and there's a bunch of squirrels all the time, so she's just looking at them like, like I'm not gonna catch you guys. You guys are free today.
You're free for a little while till the sun comes out.
Yeah, she's hilarious. So she's cool. Cece, how's it going for you? How's your Monday going?
Good. Sorry, I'm a little late.
Good.
It was good. It wasn't as busy as I thought it was going to be for Monday. Monday tends to be pretty brutal, but we are also getting snow. It's supposed to start snowing tonight, late tonight, and into tomorrow morning during the rush hour. But they said we're only getting like 1 to 4 inches in the Denver area, so I'm hoping that that's not too bad because I have like back-to-back meetings, the wrong word, tomorrow, so like situations in which I need to be very social tomorrow, like Christmas, like company Christmas parties and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh god, that's a lot. So I'm glad I'm here so I don't have to
1 to 4 inches
About
would 1 to 4 inches would shut down San Antonio.
oh yeah, I mean,
Last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, basically
I remember
Margaret,
that one.
they do a pretty good job of plowing the roads, but the last time we got snow, most of my coworkers didn't go to work, and I was like, I'm from Florida, and I showed up like, yeah, I think you guys are a bunch of pansies. Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
I think
so-
they just know how to work the system.
Yeah,
I know, right?
sounds
Well,
like it.
with COVID, it was like, oh, we can work from home. Yeah, I'm just going to do that. But during COVID, I was in a position where I had to physically be in the office until it was finally when I got promoted and didn't have to be in the office as much that they determined like, hey, we could even have the really essential people work from home, and I was like, you dickheads, like that's because I still freak out when it snows. But knock on wood, I hope. I think most of like basically everywhere that's not the metro area is going to get is going to get a lot more snow. So we'll see. At least it feels more festive.
Oh yeah.
With this,
Yep. I'd rather get snow than like a blank, nothing. Or it here usually just rains. It rains hard and it just like
Yeah, same here.
cold as anything.
we're in Florida where it's like 60 degrees, maybe. Like it never got terribly cold in December. For us, the spring is worse. The spring is when we tend to get the most blizzards and stuff. And I'm like, how does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, Danny, man, how's your Monday going?
Pretty busy, but I guess good. Like last week, stayed home. I didn't even work. I mean, I worked from home, but because I got the COVID. But today finally tested negative. So, but I still feel like a little lingering of like that 5% that I have to kick or something. Is like still little sniffles and cough. But other than that, pretty good. Catching back up on work, but still here.
I'll blame you, Danny, for me getting COVID too. Like
Dude, it's a new strain, the digital
It
strain.
was
I
through
gave
the
it to you.
mic.
it was in the mic.
Yeah, it happens. It's serious. It's. Can you
The
move
West
him
Coast,
from?
East Coast?
Can you move him from there? I don't know.
There you go. There you go.
No. Well, that doesn't help. No.
That's cool. Well, last week you guys gave our introductions, like what we collect, what like showed our collections and stuff like that. That took 2 hours for some reason.
I know.
Yeah. So we're finally going to get to the second topic, maybe to the third topic today, but we'll see how that goes. So today's topic is what's the debate? Oh, I'm sorry. What's the current debate among collectors in your world? Meaning like, statue world, figure world, CDC world, and stuff like that. So I'll go first really quick. This is a brand new one. This one just came up probably like late last week. So this is, you guys can marvel it, admire it, and love it.
Beautiful.
But this is XM Studios. This is another statue company, in case you guys didn't know, that has teased or released a new statue. And, it's there. It's cool, right? It's like, it gives you that wow factor. It goes like, oh, that's cool. Like, I want to add that to my collection and everything. But then, like, everyone's loving it. Like, everyone's talking about it. But then you have, your nerds that go like, is this comic accurate? And they start digging into it like crazy. Is Spider-Man supposed to have that suit on? What's up with the bell if it's already down? Like, how is he gonna like fight it or whatever?
Should he be Venom already? You know what I mean?
Should he be Venom? Like, another nerd right here.
Bunch of dorks.
Yeah. No, so my thing, like, I love the statue. It looks great. My thing is the price. Like, I know everyone always has issues with prices, but like this has a price, I think, of $1,500.
Oh yeah.
So, and this is a quarter scale statue. So it's not the biggest one, but it's not the smallest one either. But with like other releases that came out from the same company this year and from a I think more popular series like Superman, like, that's debatable. But like the price for that one, more colors, more statue, that one cost $1,100 compared to this. So for me, like prices, but like for other people, it's comic accuracy. What do you guys think?
Just to highlight quickly what Brenton said, you're making fun of nerds. Your channel's the Casual Nerd Problems.
I know.
I'm not making fun of them. I'm just calling them out. I'm calling them out.
He's only a casual nerd.
Oh, it's only casual. Okay.
Yeah.
Wednesday to Friday. All right, we got it.
Was it? That's funny.
Yeah, this is cool. This piece was cool, really cool. I think you're always gonna get in any hobby, stamps, coins, whatever, art prints, figures. You're always gonna have people that are gonna nitpick and want the rendition that they have in their mind or that they'd like to see, whether it's 100% comic accurate, a mix of the two. But I like this where the artist has his or her own interpretation into the statue as well. Doesn't necessarily have to be 100% comic accurate for me. I think they nailed this, and it looks absolutely beautiful.
I'd agree
Luke's-
with John.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I'm a comic book guy myself, and like if things aren't certain ways with characters that I like, the characters I really care about, like I kind of nitpick a little bit, but I mean, I think this is impressive. It's amazing. I mean, it's Spider-Man, it's Venom, but I can see where they can be like it's not comic accurate, but like I think what art is in the eye of the beholder, right? Or kind of stuff, and I think the artist did hit like what John said. He did his rendition of it, and I think it looks awesome. If I was looking for a transformation piece of Spider-Man and Venom, this would be pretty cool to have.
Yeah, I fall in that same boat, man. Like, this is if we were to get like a statue that was like 1,000% comic accurate, the statue collectors are still not happy. They're
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was gonna say. No one's gonna be 100% happy.
yeah.
There's always
And
gonna
now
be
we're
some
getting
people.
a statue of a character a lot of people do like,
Mm-hmm.
but we're getting a different artist rendition. People are like throwing up pitchforks and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. So, is it the same in your world? I guess, CC, like where there's an art print that comes out, and then like they do an artist rendition of it, and people are like, "This is not following the source material. Like, burn it or whatever."
I think I'm trying to think if there's ever been any like controversy or anything where they have to be like, "Hey, we have to fix this before we start printing it because it's such an egregious mistake." I think the only thing I've heard of as far as them having to go in and fix things or change things is what it has to do with their licensing. So it's either like, hey, you put a Coca-Cola logo in the background and we're not paying Coca-Cola, so like you have to get rid of that and change it to some generic fake logo to a company that doesn't actually exist. But I mean, prices, of course. People will talk about how artists will sell their artist proof prints. So like basically it's like the test print that gets sent to the artist to make sure it looks okay. Once the print sells out, artists will typically either hold on to those or sell them at a later date. They tend to be sold a little higher because the artist typically has access to them. Like they've been sent to them first, him, them, they, her, and they could be signed by the artist. And therefore, they tend to be priced a little higher because it includes the signature. I have seen some people commend artists like, hey, thanks for selling these like pretty close to retail for the unsigned non-artist proof edition, and then some people sell an artist proof for like twice the price of retail just because it's signed and because it's an artist proof, and also because by the time they've sold that artist proof, it's likely that the print sold out completely. So that almost be like any, I guess, limited edition statue. It sells out completely, and then someone goes, XM says, hey, I've got a prototype available. Who wants it? Also, it's twice the price of that everyone else paid for it. But I like the statue a lot. I think I don't have as much sticker shock on the price just because I'm used to customs, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
this price
this is
is
like the
pretty
flip.
comparable, and also I don't even remember the maker of it, but there was that custom Spider-Man, like it was like the symbiote Spider-Man,
Yeah.
with a lot of those
Yeah.
tendrils.
Yep.
I know that one was much higher than this. I mean, after shipping, I think it was 2,100. So I think this seems almost reasonable by that comparison. And I did hear that there's some nitpicking as far as like, hey, if that's the spider on Venom's chest, it probably should have ended like on Spider-Man's chest somewhere. Like it shouldn't just be black down there and then the logo starts like above his head, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
I really love the concept. I really love that they're sticking with a series essentially, because I think the Hulk transportation. Oh my God, transformation! I got there. I got there. by mistake.
Third time's a charm.
I know, wrong freaking day. My God, that statue. is gorgeous, and I love the pop of red. This took my breath away when I first saw it. Am I going to nitpick the logo situation? No. Like I said, I think the price it doesn't surprise me, to be honest, compared to the custom and probably the work involved in this. Even if the paint job is simple, I think with probably all those tendrils being PVC, the construction's probably a little less conventional than most statues. And I love the concept with the bell, even if it's like, well, what happened first? Like, is a bell hitting the ground and this is happening all at the same time? I don't know. I still think it works. But like you said, I feel like the statue community in particular, I think because they're priced a lot higher than like say an art print or well, I wouldn't say CGC because I know those can get up there, but I think people think because they're paying so much, they could bitch about the smallest little thing
Yeah.
and it'd
Yeah.
be totally justified. Because it's
Yeah,
like, hey,
it's-
I spent this money, it needs to be damn near perfect.
It's fair. Yeah, I definitely would say it's fair. But like, I don't know. Like sometimes the statue community does get on my nerves when stuff like this comes out. It's like, it's like it's how would I say it? It's something like we weren't asking for, of course, but it's here now. So let's make the best of it now. Like let's give them ideas what to change around and stuff like that. But like let's not just like throw under a bus and just like
But
drive over it or whatever.
that also comes in the form of like bitching and moaning instead of like constructive. I mean, there are the ones who will be out there who are constructive, but it also is almost overshadowed by the ones who bitch about it. And I was gonna ask Danny, do you remember an issue where Spider-Man gets Venom and he looks like that though?
Wait, what do you mean?
Like this, like I guess in my eyes, like if I'm looking at this statue, there's a statue of Spider-Man here, and there's a statue of Venom, and I feel like the symbiote Venom, that's what he looks like, regardless if he's on Spider-Man or if he's like Eddie Brock or whatever. Like that's what Venom looks like to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm one like Spider-Man's freaking out, but also Venom is freaking out, and you get to see what Venom actually looks like. So even if it's not super comic accurate,
See, that's the thing.
That's what Venom would look like to me. Like if Venom freaked out and he like because he was getting hurt or whatever, that's what Venom looks like. Whether it's on Eddie Brock or Spider-Man or whoever it is.
So Sean, when you look at this, what do you see? What story is this telling you in the scene? If you can just explain the scene.
I would say either the bell had fell and Spider-Man landed on it, or something of that sort, and that affected the symbiote, and Spider-Man's trying to rip out of it, and Venom is freaking out because of the vibration, and that's just kind of how he's in like pain and agony.
Yeah.
I don't.
Danny,
I'm trying to figure out this. I've been trying to figure this out. Like they're trying to grab a few things from different things that have happened between Spider-Man and Venom that I know of, because I've only read to I think the Eric Larson Michelini or Michelin, whatever his last name is, era. So I don't know what goes on with Venom after that, but like it feels like they're trying to capture get a hybrid of everything in one. Like a few stories.
Even what Carl said, like even from Spider-Man 3, that scene where
Yeah. But I don't know. The best way I can sum this up is, it's like the Star Wars mythos pieces.
yeah, yep.
It's like they're trying to tell what happened, but in their own, like in a what if, I guess,
Universe.
version,
Yeah.
or their own mythos type concept. Because I mean, like, what are you gonna do? Like, I guess if you're gonna have Peter, if it's supposed to be what it was supposed to be, Peter Parker is topless.
Yeah.
Right.
But like, what iconic Peter Parker are you gonna go for? And like, how many, like the casual fan, they're gonna be like, who's that guy? I'm assuming it's Peter Parker, or is it Eddie Brock? You know what I mean? Like, you can't win everything, I guess. So I can see why they went with Spider-Man in the suit. You know what I mean? just because it's
Yeah.
the easy read, and Venom instead of the symbiote, like just a plain old symbiote, because Venom is the most recognizable symbiote, I guess, character. So
I like that idea though, Danny, in the Mythos line. So,
yeah,
I mean,
just
anyone
feel
can
like
make it up, you know,
yeah, I
whatever
just feel
story you want to
XM is
go with.
trying to make a hybrid, like trying to please everybody at once, but they're not, I guess.
Yeah, but this honestly happens. Like this goes to my point with like this happens in the statue world a lot. If it's a comic character, everyone wants 1,000%
Yeah, I
proof
mean, I get that, but
statue. But like it's a statue company too.
Yeah.
If they're gonna mimic it or like reproduce it, it's kind of boring to their artists. I feel like, and now they have to create. You know, they want to create their own interpretation of it to stand out a
Well,
little bit. You know.
like
And I
Jarhead
want
said, the XM does. They're totally known for just tweaking. They're always putting their tweak on on their characters' costumes, whatever, or looks. I don't know if it's a license thing too, because technically it's only an Asia license, I guess. Like
Yep.
they have to tweak it maybe from the normal worldwide license, maybe look.
Could be. Yeah.
Like we don't know.
Well, and also, is it a thing too, like with statues, that it's more permanent? You know, like I think in like 112 stuff, you can kind of fudge it in there and make it look like the way you want it to, with whether that means using other figures or other accessory pieces or things like that. Um, I guess when I think about a statue, you know, it's like there's not much fixing. You know, it is what it is. Like when you buy it, that's what it is. Even if there's swap outs.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was mine, and the next one is Cece's. These art prints came out recently or are about to come out.
Yeah, so these ones aren't the controversy. I just wanted to show them because it's not very often that we have an art print that is going to be available for an extended period of time. By extended, I mean like they're not going to sell out in 10 minutes. And I have a feeling these will be popular. And I did this the last time we had a Star Wars print that was a timed edition. So I showed it on, I think, at least 2 channels that I was on like the week it released. And I still had people messaging me after it was the ordering period had closed, being like, "Oh, I missed out on it." And I'm like, "Come on, like you had a week. Like what's?" So I just want to like bash people over the head with this. These are being released through Mondo and Acme Archives. They're licensed, and it's a timed edition. So they will go up tomorrow, Tuesday, at, oh gosh, I don't buy anything from Mondo, so I forget what time. I think it's 1 p.m. Eastern. Pretty sure it's 1 p.m. Eastern. If not, check their website. It's going to go up tomorrow, and it'll be available until midnight on Friday. So you'll have from Tuesday when they go live till Friday at midnight. So a timed edition means that they will print as many as they sell. So you're also going to be waiting for this for a while. So if you anticipate this under a Christmas tree, it's not going to work. So they'll, as soon as they go up, they'll be taking orders. They'll close orders Friday at midnight, and like I said, they'll only produce as many as they sell. So now would be your opportunity to get it. The last big Star Wars print that was timed, I think it was the Rogue One by Chris Valentine, and was it like 1,000 at least they sold? So I think it was a big number at least, between 600 and 1,000. These are $35 each, and they're also on the smaller side. I think they're 5 inches by 9 inches. And these are the first of his, the series he calls it is Eyes Without a Face. So it's always just the eyes. He's
like
done
that,
it
yeah.
for years. These are the first ones he's done that are prints that are Star Wars. I think he's done Boba Fett as like just a one-off. Like someone bought the original and that was it. They didn't actually print it. So it sounds like he kind of has a plan in motion, a deal in place to do more of these Star Wars ones. And I appreciate that they're on the smaller side. So these would fit in a display case if you wanted them. But I love these. I think honestly, I'm a huge Vader fan. Vader's my favorite. I think the Kenobi is actually my favorite of these two prints, just because of the emotion. I think it's a great tribute to his performance. So these are, I just want to show these so that people don't get upset with me if they say that they've never heard of them or I didn't say anything. So there's that.
My brother Anakin!
That's a
You
great
say
price. Price at $35, you said?
Yep.
Wow.
See,
Mind
if I
you-
was on, how would I search this on Mondo? Like, it's on mondoshop.com. Is that what it is?
Yes. And let me, while we're talking about it, let me just look up that time.
But it won't
So
it won't
yeah,
pop up until the actual sale, right?
no, like you won't be able to add it to your cart or anything now. On Mondo, it'll be on what's called the drop. So if you look at the top and it says the drop, that's where, as soon as they add new art prints, that's where they go. So that's the page that people tend to like refresh until they're actually available to put in your cart. So they're going to be up, 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, the 13th, through.
Okay,
Oh,
so it won't. It
it's
won't
actually-
even show up. It won't even show up
No.
on that page.
No, you might see it on their mondoshop.com if they have, I don't know if they do, let me see, like a blog section, because that's what Bottleneck does, where they'll have a blog section where they'll show things that they're going to. Oh yeah, so it says next drop Tuesday, 11 o'clock my time. I don't think that's right. I think it's actually going to be 10 o'clock. No, that is right. Okay. Yeah, so at the top of my screen when I go to the Shop Mondo, it says that the next print. So when you click on the drop, I'm sure there's nothing there. Yep, waiting for the next drop. So nothing's available to purchase right now, or that nothing's released. There's things for pre-order, but not anything that we're anticipating. And then if you go to, sorry, I don't mess with Mondo a lot because by mess with, I don't mean to be insulting. So I have a few prints that were originally on Mondo, but they're quite old. I don't know what it is. I do know what they release. It just doesn't tend to be my favorite. I don't know if it is a testament to like the artists that they work with or something, but also the fact that they tend to sell so incredibly quickly. Sometimes I don't even bother trying to buy one, but it's also, I've never had a situation where I've seen a print go up and I'm like, I need that absolutely wholeheartedly. I'm going to try to get it during the drop. I've never even attempted, but it's been a long time since I've actually been this excited about a print that Mondo's done, if that makes sense. So if you go in the about section of their website and you click on blog, the first option is Eyes Without a Face, Star Wars number 1 and 2, on sale info. So if you click on that, it'll explain the Kenobi print is called Master's Lament, and then the Vader one is called Fallen Apprentice. And they basically say that this is one and two. There's an article with Gizmodo that I actually posted in a few different groups. That it's a collab with Academy Archives, so you know it's licensed. That they're 9x5, and that they're Giclée prints, which basically means they're kind of like a fancier, high quality version of an inkjet print. We joke that because no one knows how to say Giclée, that it's Gickly or Gickle, or that it's an icky gicky if like you don't like Giclées, but it's just a nature of the beast with art prints. Not every single style of art is going to be conducive to a screen print or a lithograph, so you have to settle for a Giclée. But yeah, so the price, $35. I'd say on average, retail price for an art print as soon as it releases can be between like $20 as high as so Paul Mann's an artist. He'll post his prints. I think his go up to like 150. So the only time that prints, in my opinion, get real spendy is if it's on canvas. That's always going to increase the price because it's an expensive material. So that I'm talking paper prints in this regard, because metal, lenticulars, acrylics, like those will be higher. I'm talking
Yeah.
paper. So paper, they tend not to start off high. The times that you get into like the really high prices is like Tyler Stout's Star Wars series from I think it was 2015 or 2016. I think those probably retailed for like $60 or $65 when they released. Someone just sold one for, they listed it for 2,000, and that's one print.
Jeez.
So that's where we talk about like expensive prices. Like I have my Matt Ferguson Killing Joke. Mine's an artist proof. I think the variants he only did 65, and the artist proofs I think he did 20. He had 25 of those, so it's signed by Matt Ferguson. I've seen people list those for as high as like 600, and I bought it for 40.
4,000? I'm kidding. Dang. Okay. I mean, in a statue. Yeah.
So at least at retail, we're not talking statue prices by any means. But Danny could also say the same about comics, where you might buy a comic for cover price and you know what to look for. So then you get it graded and you spend the $40 to get it CGC'd and it comes back at 9.8, and then it might be worth a hell of a lot more.
Yep, always.
And I just went on a big rant about these art prints, and I didn't actually discuss the controversial topic. So,
Well, I have this picture right here.
yes, okay. I think this is helpful because I'm sure a lot of people have seen on social media people using the AI generated images.
Oh, can you imagine that? Everyone.
Everyone and their mother is using it, and I think it's a cool concept. And also, it kind of feels close to home. So, it was a few months ago. There's some controversy where someone submitted AI created art. Like they created the algorithm. I think they said like fantastical, cozy place, maximalism, like decor, and the art looks like something you'd see out of Lord of the Rings concept art. They submitted it to, I think it was like a statewide, was it nationwide or statewide? Anyway, they submitted it to some sort of art competition, and it won. And he didn't say anything about it being AI created until after he won. And I think he's based in Colorado. So everyone was like, well, are there ethical considerations with that? How was this made? It was made by a computer. Does that really mean it's art?
Well, there was also a prize for that too. I think it was like 400,000 or something like that, right?
I don't know if it was the same one where because I thought it was a little smaller than that, the competition. But yes, I'm sure there was some kind of prize involved that included either like a significant dollar amount or prize, like subscription to art classes or what have you. But Daniel Danger is an artist. He does a lot of music, like gig posters, but he's also done some what we call alternative movie posters. He did a was it Crimson Peak, that gothic movie that no one watched a few years ago that had Tom Hiddleston? That was cool. He recently did a shadow box, a Star Wars shadow box with Luke on Dagobah. That was very popular. Adam Savage's channel did a video review of it, which was really cool. And I still have people thanking me for telling them about that shadow box because it was just so unique. So he came out and said, like, listen, I just spent a few minutes looking through these AI generated images and look at these mangled ass signatures in the corners that the algorithm's not removing. So this tells you that this is not wholeheartedly coming from a computer. They're getting art, like original art, and they're just, I'm not a computer genius, as you can tell by everything I'm saying right now. But I think that it stands to reason, and I appreciate the people who are pointing out, like, hey, these images are not coming completely from nothing. They're using original artists' works, and they're not crediting those artists at all. I saw on Reddit that there was a kind of a controversial TikTok video where someone had posted their AI art, and someone said, hey, would you be able to share the algorithm or what you used to get this? And they said, I don't want to because
Oh, CC, your audio just like went out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna speak louder then, or something. Sorry. On Reddit, someone was saying that they found an artist who did some AI artwork, and someone asked, like, "Hey, I really like this. I'd love to create it myself. Can I see the algorithm you used?" And because they used a lot of one artist in particular's work as inspiration, the AI artist, if you could call him that, said no because I don't want that artist to be upset. So it's like if you think an artist will be upset if you're crediting them or saying that you took a lot of heavily inspiration in creating your algorithm, then that kind of gives you an indication that there's some ethical considerations to be had here. Like maybe don't do it, or maybe talk to the artist first, or at least credit their work. But I think until people start printing these and selling them, it's just going to be kind of like a lot of noise about AI art, if that makes sense.
Well, they are selling it already. Like, in order to get these images that
Yeah,
people
you
are,
have to pay, right?
you have to pay for like a certain amount of images, and then
Oh.
it's like a subscription thing too. Like, if you want more pictures to be converted to whatever you want, you gotta keep paying for each layer on top of layer for it.
Okay.
So this
Gotcha.
does also for the statue world. Like this kind of does happen with the what we call recasts. So like
Yeah.
they basically recast an original statue and they sell it. People buy them. It's like frowned upon, but it does happen. And when this happens in the statue world, it's like I can't go and go get like the best statue in the market right now and go like get a recast and tell everyone, hey, I got the Superman hush, this is the
That's
the
how you
recast,
got
but-
it.
Yeah, right. But like you can't do that. Like people will call you out, people will shame you, people will
I think
Well-
it's more. Well, I mean, I think it's more selling. Like you just have to be upfront if you're selling the piece. Then
yeah,
it's
well
recast.
that too, but it's still frowned upon though.
I think so. I think the difference with recasting, though, is with AI art, I think they could argue that the original art is being modified to such an extreme,
Oh yeah.
no longer the original, versus recast is almost like, and I haven't heard of any issues with it recently or that's come up, but we have that in the print world where it's like, hey, I just got this image online. I found a high resolution image of this art print, this giclée or the screen print. I'm just going to take it to Office Depot and just have them blow it up on a larger piece of paper, and I'm going to frame that. There are some issues with that because you're not like the artist isn't benefiting from that. And I have heard people say like, well, if it's just for personal use, does that change things? But thankfully, I think I don't have much to say about reprinting just because I think in the art print communities I'm in, I don't hear about it happening. I think almost because people know if you post a photo of your collection or art you have on your walls, someone might notice like, hey, that's not hand signed, that's not hand numbered. Is that a reprint? Or hey, some are obvious where like those Tyler Stouts I told you about, the Star Wars ones, they're 24 by 36. They're huge.
Yeah.
People have reprinted them smaller. So if it's a smaller size, then you know it's a reprint or something they just bought on eBay. So if you have someone who's serious about art prints and they see that in your collection, I think I'd be prepared to say like, hey, or for someone to say, you probably shouldn't have a reprint. But then it's almost like having a print of the Mona Lisa in your house. You know damn well that's not the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
But like, where does it end? I'm not going to call someone out and say, hey, I don't think that poster behind you or that print, it's the wrong size. I don't think that's legit. I don't think it's licensed by the company, because we know that custom statues exist. It's the same thing. Just because Disney's not getting a cut, does that make it any fairer compared to an artist not getting a cut?
That's true.
For a reprint, you know what I mean? Like it's a very deep rabbit hole of like where does it start being like messed up? And I know with recast, you could argue like I love, for instance, Batman Sanity by XM. If I were to have one Batman statue, I would have that. And there's a ton of recasts of it. There's been a ton of, like, people can 3D print it. People have made their own files. Where does it become problematic if it means that people like XM and David Finch did not get a cut because you happen to have one sitting in your living room? But like I said, I think if you have like a Stout or an Ollie Moss, like something that's a $2,000 or $3,000 print normally, and you have a smaller version of it in your house, I don't think anyone's going to be like, hey, like Tyler Stout didn't benefit from that picture being in your house, or Ollie Moss didn't benefit from that picture being in your house. I think it's pretty obvious it's a reprint. But do I think anyone's going to call anyone out on it? No, of course not. But do I know statue collectors call people out when they're like, that Hush is a reprint? Absolutely.
They do. What do you think, John?
What CC's saying is, it is ethically wrong that the artist doesn't get credit. The original artist doesn't get credit. But at what point are we going to be able to monitor that? It's not going to stop. It's going to continue with, like you said, Steve, recasts, art prints. Everything's bootleg.
Yeah.
Everything is. It's the issue, like you guys are saying, the issue comes is when things are being sold online as original and they're not. And that's where I think the community needs to, like, especially people who are experienced, if they see something or within the groups, the BST groups or something, not necessarily speak up, but there should be a way that we can help. Because there's a lot of new collectors coming into the hobby who will look at, I'll use the statues as an example. They'll look at a statue and say, oh, wow, that's a really good price, and not know better. And it's a recast. You go on eBay, you see recasts of everything. But they don't know. They think, oh, this is maybe a good deal. This is my way in.
If it's coming from China, it's pretty good chance it's a recast.
Wow. Okay. Well, I didn't want to say it, but
But then
Danny can say it.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up. Okay.
You mentioned like XM. I don't know specifically about XM's licensing, but I know like Queen Studios, for example, their license is only so broad, so they can't make certain pieces in the U.S. market, but they can in the Asian market. So sometimes it's like, it's going to have to unfortunately come from China, but it's like, does that mean it's a recast, or does that mean you just bought it from a customer who's in China and happened to be able to buy it because it's only available in China or in that market?
Yeah, you're going to most likely want to stick to the retailers, the more famous retailers that have that reputation.
Or, I mean, if you're going to go through eBay and let's say, I don't want to blanket all the Chinese sellers are going to be recast. But
did.
If be smart about it, I guess. Ask them questions. Say, hey, can I get pictures of, like maybe next to a newspaper or whatever, or a date stamp. Like, it's really, the product it is. Like if I was to buy something from Steve will show me, pictures of in hand, like what it is. So the seller really has those in hand, and they should have no problems showing pictures to support, what's underneath. You know what I mean? Because I heard the recast, they're different. Like they don't have the printed bottoms.
True. What do you think,
Probably
Sean?
Probably his quality issues just with the casting.
I've heard some recasts are pretty close. Pretty
That's
close.
scary.
Yeah, like, so one recast, very well known recast. I heard it's you can barely tell, is the one John has behind him, the Doom on Throne.
I knew that was a recast.
No. I didn't say that one.
Goodness.
They recast
Damn you,
that one.
China seller.
Wow. How dare you?
John's like, wait a minute, what?
What? I literally met up with a guy and got it from the trunk of his car. So you might be right. To be honest, you might be right. But you're right. It was very popular. All those, I don't know. You just can't tell. That's why I stay off of eBay. I don't think I've ever bought anything off of eBay. I just stay off of eBay.
I mean, you can tell by the sellers. Just look at the sellers and like their past sales. If they're selling random like statues, like it looks like it's from their collection. They have an Iron Man, they have a Black Widow. Then it's probably gonna be more legit. But if they just have like 20 freaking the same statues, That is probably a recast.
Look, you said recast. You made Jerry wake up. Look.
John has a recast. Well, CC, thank you for bringing that up. Sean, I don't think do you have any thoughts on it by chance?
I think when it just comes to like the reselling or what if it's a recast or not, just being honest, on your descriptions, being like, hey, this is what it is, this is what you're gonna get, I was gonna ask, like, does it help more to do it, like, if you're gonna get it off of like a forum or something like that than it does off of eBay when it comes to that kind of stuff? Just because, you can like do a little. I guess you can do like a little bit more with it on some of these forums or even on like Facebook. Just the way people advertise.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like I know when I go to eBay and I'm just like, I can see like, oh, well, that looks fake or that looks fake, but then a lot of the people like on like Facebook, and it could be fake still, but like,
yeah, exactly.
There's more like a lot of people on Facebook will like tag it like, hey, name this, here it is,
Yeah, well,
Like,
it's
I'm
actually.
asking-
Oh, go ahead, CC.
Sorry. So I think what you're saying is like eBay is not the best avenue. Sounds like for most collectors. But then what about?
Because you have the eBay and PayPal protection.
Or you could always insist if you're using like a buy sell trade group to do the fees, to do it as goods and services. Or at least what I like about using a community is you could always ask for references.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's
And
helpful.
And if you're really interactive with those groups, and like you start to get to like us, like we kind of got to know each other over social medias and other like platforms than eBay. Hiding behind a name. Like a lot of us, we comment, we post and things like that.
I hear that. Well, CC, thanks again, and I'm gonna go on to John's
Wow.
debate.
Oh god.
Oh,
So,
wow.
I'm not-
Wow, CZ. I sat here and listened to that print talk, and you're telling me.
I don't
Oh,
know
wow.
too much about figures and stuff. When he showed me this, I was like, "Oh man, this looks badass. What's wrong with this one?"
Oh god, I should have seen this coming. I don't know why.
So he has 3 of them, and I was like, "These badass. Like, could I get one?"
Get
And
outta
I guess
here.
I can.
Yes.
No, what a big debate is, I think, and this happens both, because I collect statues as well, of course, but it happens both in statues and figures, and a little bit different in each, but more or less on the same line. And it's reissues, repaints, 2.0s, differentiating them, and are they really good for the community? On the statue front, you have pieces like the Prime 1 Alien Big Chap that they just did, and people were, at first people were losing their minds because they considered a reissue. Now there were some tweaks on the base, they removed the wall and so forth, but more or less it was a sold out statue with an edition size, and they're bringing it back to market. Similar situations with repaints, the Batman Hush coming in the blue, and then they repaint in the black. Prime 1 also did the Nightwing color variation. Now Hot Toys on the figure front, even worse. Hot Toys will take a valuable original figure that came out, call it a 2.0, really a reissue, and just put it out to market, and won't be executed well. That Batman, for example, was a 2000, I don't know what year it was. I want to say 2012. I lost it. I don't know what year it was, but that was a Toy Fair exclusive, and it sold, and it was a really high valued figure. They came out recently, reissued it. Many collectors said it's a 2.0, not a reissue, because they tweaked the portrait. But they re-released it, and the photos that are coming to market right now look atrocious. The suit's glossy. It doesn't look like there's any improvement.
2011.
2011, there we go. It's close. So then at what point is it, well, are you doing the re-release to better the community and the product, or is it just for the money? Because you would think a re-release or a 2.0 is to come up with a better product for the collector, but that's not what we're seeing. Same thing with the tumbler that was there. That was, from my understanding, a straight re-release. This thing was going for over $1,000 on the secondary market, and they decide to put it. They decide to re-release it and put it to the market. Now it's whatever. You can get it like you could go buy a bag of milk at the grocery store. So I think this really started with the figures, and I think that some of the statue companies now are it's bleeding into the statue community as well.
So an example for the statue companies is like an Alien that just came out from Prime One.
Yeah, that
They,
alien. Yeah,
They literally called it a reissue when they announced it again.
yep.
So if it bleeds a little bit more into the statue world, I feel like there's more hot toy collectors than there's statue collectors. But with statue collectors, it's such at a I think it's such at a price where like people will fight back like harder and more effectively, I think, than the Hot Toys world. Hot Toys world, I feel what I see is like they take it now. They take it as it is now. They're like, oh, reissue, expected it, I'll buy it. I'll buy it. They keep buying it, man. Like all these reissues keep selling out.
It's slowing. If you go on Sideshow's site, you see just a staggering amount of pieces there that aren't selling out. And I don't know. I just think, I understand new collectors are coming in to the hobby, and okay, this could be marketed to them, and it's all about the company making money. But at the same time, if you're going to be redoing a figure or a product, I think you'd want to give 110% to it, so that it would be better, so that you can even entice the collector who picked it up originally to purchase it. If you're making it the same or worse quality, what's the point?
Yeah.
Of course you would, Ark. Of course you would.
What do you think, Daddy?
About what? The whole reissue things?
Yeah, so like John was talking about like reissues being done within like a 6 scale Hot Toys figures, like
I
within
can't-
CGC. Do you think there would be uproar if they did it?
Well, there's nothing that they can kind of reissue for. I mean, CGC is more of a, it's like it's a,
An authentication.
yeah, it's a process. Like, like the only thing is they have custom labels that they
Yeah, the retired
retire.
labels. Yeah.
But I think they retire more because they have new ones to come out. Like, there's so many versions of Spider-Man. Like, they can do so many Spider-Man labels. But I guess if they were to go back and, like, let's say they use a specific, like, Spider-Man McFarlane label, and people, 10 years from now look back and be like, oh my god, I wish I could have that. I mean, I don't think it would be that big of a deal. Because it's just a label. It's a $5 label.
It'd be like
Add-on.
if they brought it back,
Yeah.
it'd be like a throwback.
Yeah, it's a
Like,
throwback.
hey, we're gonna do this throwback from McFarlane.
Hopefully they'll do something different, like maybe
Add
make
art.
it holographic or a different color, a variant color, some sort.
Maybe it has like the gold label from like one of the covers,
Yeah,
because like with that particular Todd McFarlane run where there's the silver label, there's
silver.
there's a
regular.
red, there was gold.
Then there was a black costume. So yeah, I mean, I don't see for CGC specifically there would be a big backlash if they were to reissue labels, like the custom labels.
Gotcha. And UCC, I heard you laughing in the very, very, very beginning, and I was like, "Dang, savage!"
Yeah. That was because I think it was Archangel said every time John complains about a reissue, a puppy somewhere dies. And then Jerry was like, my dog just got up and stumbled.
That's because
So sorry,
those two are the Kumbaya boys with the reissues there.
that was my, I mean, I think I see both sides of it, where if I would be upset if I got it originally, and it's like, well, knowing it was going to be re-released later, maybe I would have made different collecting decisions. if that makes sense. Like not giving into FOMO if I knew that they're gonna release it at another time. I actually kind of had a similar question about Rico Robot released these like little Tauntaun maquettes, and they said like, "Oh, this edition is going to be available starting this day." And I'm like, "What do you mean this edition? Like, does that mean there's going to be this one's going to come with a signature plaque? Does that mean there's going to be an edition that doesn't have a signature plaque, and therefore it's not as expensive? Because that's the one I'd go for." And then it
Yeah.
was like, no, like they haven't said anything like that. So I'm assuming that's this edition's the only edition. Um, and with prints, I don't. They have open editions where they'll just it's available on an artist's website and they'll print them as they sell them essentially. But the only thing I can compare it to is like I said with the artist proofs where you scrambled to buy a print that was sold out, or you went on the aftermarket, either buy sell trade group or eBay, and you found one of those dreaded listings that says, "I know what I have. This is long sold out." And it's like, oh, stop being a tool. We know it's sold out. Like you don't have to say that in the eBay listing. And you spent more than retail on it. And then an artist chimes in and says, "Hey, we have extras." Or, "Hey, I have artist proofs." Or, "Hey, we have printer proofs. Do you want those at retail?" And you're like, son of a bitch. You already spent a lot more than you wanted to on it. I could see that. That's the only time I think someone could genuinely be upset is, "Hey, I bought this aftermarket, assuming that was my only opportunity to have this, and now it's being reissued." But then I also see the other side of it where, hey, if you weren't in the hobby back then to get this when it originally released, then you'd be incredibly grateful that they re-released it. And I could see that being me too. Like, God, if they did XM Sanity and we're like, "Hey, we're gonna make it bronze instead, like totally bronze." Would I prefer it totally bronze? No, I probably prefer the Smoke Edition. But would I consider the bronze one because it might be the only edition I have? Would that be considered a reissue? Probably, because it's like a variant, like a different type of. So I don't.
But at least you have it.
Yes,
Or
exactly.
a form of it.
I mean, we
What
had
about-
this issue with was it the Joker on Throne, where they initially Tweeterhead was like, "Hey, it's 1/6," and then it got such a great reception. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna do it in quarter scale," and people were like, "What the hell?" Like, I would have just bought the quarter scale had that been what was available in the first place. So they had to remedy all those orders and make it right with people and allow them to switch their orders to quarter scale if they wanted to. And I'm sorry I cut you off.
You're good. I was gonna say this is John right here. After listening to you talk positively about
I
reissues,
will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
John's just like,
It's all good.
God,
It's all good. Just
nah.
I just say, look, if you're gonna reissue, that's fine. Reissue. We've come to terms that that's just the way it is. I wasn't used to it back when I started collecting, but it's inevitable. That's fine, reissue. But when you do reissue, ensure that it's a better product than the original. That there's upgrades, that there's value there over the original. That's just my.
Well, and would that not upset you further if you bought the original and then years later they release it again and it's better?
Well, I'm gonna expect it to be better because of the change in materials
It's true.
over time. What I would like is just make it different. So if the original one had some sort of exclusive, maybe come up with a different exclusive for the new one. Don't give us the same exclusive. Retain that value for the original release.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Right? Retain, like, ensure, like Hot Toys did a great one with the Harvey Dent Two-Face. With the original one, they gave you the regular suit along with the burnt suit. With the new one, they didn't give you that original suit. So there's something there. There's still some meat on the bone. So keep that.
Also-
Just redo it, but keep some. Do something different so that that original one is different, and still you'll still have a collector to say, "Hey, you know what? I like that rendition better."
Does this mean you're still going to wish me a happy Christmas on Christmas?
I always wish everyone a happy Christmas on Christmas.
I'm gonna wish you. A
I
Merry
wish you a
Christmas.
happy Thanksgiving. Never got a response. Heartbroken.
I know, because I literally turned off my phone for like 2 days, and then I felt like an asshole because you always beat my family into saying like
Always.
Happy Thanksgiving,
It's
and I'm
okay.
like, you're Canadian. I didn't
I'm
think
still-
that was a thing for you guys.
I look at my phone, still didn't get a response.
For
Heartbroken.
one, how dare you?
I'm sorry.
John, you didn't message me.
Yeah, Daddy, I don't like that. No, I'm joking.
That's funny.
Or Sean, any thoughts on this?
I mean, reissues is just part of the game for us in the 1/12, I guess. I mean, they do it all the time. Just something that's there. But there's no ES, there's no
Yeah.
there might be an exclusive, but you know, we all anticipate a single release later or something like that, you know.
For you guys though, isn't it more like batches? Like you guys get like, they send like 1,000 or 100,000 and then they sell out or whatever, and then the next
Right,
batch
you
comes?
know,
Or
I
is it
think-
like yearly? Like with like
Is
in
it-
5 years, let's get re-released. or
Isn't
something?
1/12 there's not enough?
Yeah, I mean it sells out, and then, but
People
you know
want
what? I
more.
feel like nowadays, or at least like here in like my side of the collecting world, is like it's the flippers and the scalpers and stuff. You know, it's like you could go and buy it at a Walmart or a Target or somewhere like that, or even like Big Bad or Entertainment Earth and some other places. But and then you miss out locally because maybe you're new and you don't know about Big Bad, you don't know about Entertainment Earth, how their reputation is and things like that. And then you're like, well, I'll try to go find it at Target. And then it gets bought out and you go look for it, and then here's someone selling it for $20, $30, $40 more. It might be worth that much more, but just like having to buy it aftermarket, people bust it up a little.
Doesn't that make it fun, though, Sean? Doesn't it make it fun that something comes out, you need to go on the hunt, and if you miss out,
Absolutely.
that's
It's
part
not,
of...
It's not about the figure. For me, it's not about the figure. It's about going out there, trying to find it. After I left the comic book store, I did get a little bit lazy, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll buy a few waves from just online so I know I have it. But then my
Yeah.
time was short too, because I got busy and my family and just stuff like that. I didn't have time to go run to the mall or to Target or wherever it was, But for me, it's always been, especially with comics, it's always been about the hunt. Let's go to a shop. Any city we've ever visited, I was like, all I want to do is go to a different shop and see if I can find this book.
Yeah.
For the figures, it's more like I just want the figure.
Yeah. And that's what I miss. I miss that. Having to go for that hunt, and if you missed out, you missed out. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Or if you missed out, you're going to pay
Yeah.
premium, whether that premium's $20 or $2,000.
It's just part of the game.
Well, Sean, since we have you on right now, could you tell us a little bit about this one?
Yeah, so I guess the thing I was trying to show here is my frustration with some of this stuff is just like how quickly Hasbro or other companies will throw out a product from like the MCU, because that's mainly what I follow. I can't really speak on too much more than that, but the MCU was really big for me, and just they'll release a product pre the movie just so it's out there, and then they'll come back a few months later, a year later. Well, here's a 3-pack. The Iron Man was a single release. I don't remember if the Doctor Strange was a single release, but the Thanos was a Build-A-Figure. And they switched up the gauntlet a little bit here and stuff, and gave you an extra head sculpt and stuff like that with like the cringing face and stuff. But the original Build-A-Figure for the Infinity War wave was a really like dark purple Thanos, and then movie dropped, and several months to about a year later, they came out with a re-release of it in a 3-pack with basically the same Iron Man figure maybe a little bit lighter in like more vibrant in the colors, and then this one had a light up gimmick in the chest and stuff. And I just noticed how like some of these other companies kind of wait, such as like SH Figure Arts or Mofex or some of those guys, and they'll come out with a more accurate figure after the movie's released. You know, so you get a really good figure and the closest accuracy after we've seen it for ourselves and stuff. And it's just it's kind of like what John says with like the reissues, but it's literally the exact same thing, maybe just a paint difference, you know. And you'll pay $20 here or there, $30, $40, whatever, and then they'll drop like $100 3-pack. And then this came out again for Marvel Legends as a 5-pack with the Children of Thanos. So you actually get the Infinity War Thanos, similar to how this is, but he has the burnt face, you know, after he did the thing, and you know, the burnt arm and stuff like that. So just kind of how many are you going to release before you stop and say, okay, this is the one. Not even like, hey, you missed out on the first release. This is just the best one now.
So is that just like a waiting game thing?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Where it's
You wait till like
Wait.
version 5.0 or something.
Exactly, right?
So
And
this is like what John wants, but gone too far.
yeah, I
I
mean,
guess so, yeah.
you had the Build-A-Figure, you had the 3-pack, you had the Amazon exclusive, which came out a year or two ago, maybe. Pretty close in the middle of COVID, I guess. And then even SH Figure Arts, they kind of screwed up once. They kind of gave you like their version of the armored Thanos from Endgame. You know, sword's not accurate. He has the gauntlet on his hand, but it's not the right gauntlet, and stuff like that. And then they came out with the final battle version, you know, where he is severely damaged and he has the right sword. He has a
Oh no.
shit.
See, they're cutting them. They're like,
They're cutting up. Don't talk. They're crazy in their world, huh?
Dude, Hasbro got you.
Yeah.
this is
Well, and
just,
it's
just
like
make
that,
the
I mean-
one figure and that's it. Make one,
Well-
1, 2, that's it. Forget it.
There's a local guy who said it pretty well. It's not about the articulation. It's not about the figure itself, because you can find the character anywhere. You know, it's which one do you like more kind of thing. Now, you know, because there's so many of them out there. You have options. I mean, think about Batman with like McFarlane. You got Joker Batman. You got this Batman. You got a deceased Batman. You got all these other kinds of Batmans out there. You know, it's like, which one is yours? You know, and then you get some of the better companies like Mezco and guys like that who will put out stuff like the older versions and things like that. So, but with like this, you're in this is an exception. This was a 3-pack, but you're in the $20 to $35 range, I guess, with some of these figures.
$10 a pop.
Mm-hmm. Well, this right here was 70 to 80 or so, and then on
Jeez.
aftermarket it went over 100, I think.
Oh,
You know,
I don't know.
and then I
Yeah.
think the biggest thing right now is just kind of like the at least with the Marvel Legends, people are kind of crapping on the new windowless boxes and stuff,
Right.
because the benefit to having the windows were like, I can check the figure out. You know, I didn't have to worry about something being missing or not. You know, if you were actually looking at the figure, you might actually see it. But are the eyes off, or is this off? Or you can go through 3 or 4 of them on the shelf if there was that many, and pick the one that you like best. You know, an example is I bought a Ninjetti Power Ranger, Yellow Ranger, and one of the eyes was like hanging down way down here on the
Whoa.
paint apps, and then the other one was perfect. You know,
Sure
and
it
it
wasn't
just-
Jonah Hex?
God damn it,
Is
dude.
Ninjetti the Italian Power Ranger?
Wow.
God. It's the ninja ones, but it. I think that's the biggest thing right now is like, don't throw the extra cost on me because you're claiming sustainability, because everything in that box now, besides, I mean, even the figure, but besides the figure, which is what you want to keep, is recyclable. You know, you can just recycle it, no big deal. And I just feel like with a lot of these companies going to sustainable stuff, that don't put that on me because you want to be sustainable.
Yeah.
What do you think, CC?
Well, it's funny. I hadn't really thought about that. Just because, I mean, with art prints, we complain all the time about how things are packaged. If it's a tube that ends up getting crushed or something like that, but I don't think. I mean, it's paper. Like we're technically killing the earth like every time.
Wow.
There's like people don't recycle art prints, so like that's just a lot of trees. Um, yeah, I think to me it just seems this process, because it's not a reissue, they're upgrading. Do you want to wait and keep waiting? And also, when do you know that the last one's the last one or the best one? You never know. And then but also I think all of us do that with everything we collect, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna have one art print that's for the long Halloween, just one, and this is it. This is the be all end all. And then someone comes out with an art print that features long Halloween, and I prefer it, and it's like, son of a bitch, like I thought I had that covered. So I think you're always gonna feel the need to upgrade, whether it's a statue or whether, like we've talked about, character representation. Hey, this is better character representation than what I have, so I'm gonna switch it out. Um, but I think hearing about how many times they'll issue a figure that's similar to this before the movies even come out kind of reminds me of um, Star Wars and like the vintage figures. I didn't collect those. I that was not my generation. I know they're worth a lot now, but um, they obviously weren't completely accurate to the movies. They had figures that were figures or ships that were not seen in the movies, but they produced them anyway. That either it's like, well, what happened with that? Did they just land on the cutting room floor? I bought, actually, this is kind of like what started me on this dangerous path of art print collecting. Um, I was at Disney with my family, and it was in November, and Force Awakens was coming out in December. So this was 2015, I think. Yes. And I saw this art print that was like a bunch of First Order stormtroopers all lined up, kind of like pop art style, and then amongst them was Captain Phasma. And I was like, that's that one in the trailer that looks really cool. Yeah, I ended up crushed when the actual movies came out, but the art print was cool. It doesn't even have a name on it of like who did it. It didn't at the time. It came with a mat. I think it was like $40, but my sister was like, "Your birthday's coming up. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be cool." And then I went looking for something that would go well on the wall next to it. And now, years later, I have over 80 art prints, and I'm like, "Gee, thanks." Um, but I thought it was cool, and that I remember that art print forever because about how excited I was about The Force Awakens coming out, and that was like we had just literally seen what a First Order stormtrooper was going to look like. And then all we had was the trailer. So I thought it was kind of cool that I was kind of getting the jump on collecting stuff from the movie before the movie even came out. So I could see almost like FOMO of like, let me get this Iron Man figure before the movie comes out. And then I'll just be disappointed if after the movie comes out, I notice all the ways in which it's inaccurate. I almost wish there was a program where with Hasbro, where if you did buy the figure before the movie came out and you wanted to upgrade to the newer one, almost like a recycling program. Hey, can I send in my figure and you send me the new one and I pay you the difference or something like that? They recycle it or they donate it to someone who deserves a figure and can't have one, kind of thing.
That would be legit.
I mean, if they want to be sustainable, that's the way to do it. Because otherwise, right. I think
you're not printing as much of the plastic and all the the sculpts and going through the what is the manufacturing.
Yep. Actually, funny story. So the Joker mask I have behind me is by Queen Studios. So they're licensed with props only for the Asian market. So no one in the United States can just order that from a distributor. At least I don't know. I'm sorry, I did. But when they first came out, distributors, especially for that mask, for some reason were hard to find or they're waitlisted. So I ordered it through a distributor. Before I ordered it through a distributor, I actually did hear that there was rumblings that they were going to upgrade it, because I guess a lot of people who are not in that market could not order them directly from Queen Studios, ended up buying them on eBay and getting fakes, and that were resin, not polystone, and the paint was like subpar. But the problem was people complained then to Queen Studios, hey, not that they got a fake, that's not Queen Studios' problem. The problem was these fakes look very, very close to what you did, and you're charging 4 times more for it. So I had someone reach out to me after they saw my mask in the background and just be like, "Hey, is that the first version or the second?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he sent me a photo, and he was like, "I bought mine through Queen Studios, and when people complained enough about the quality, about the fakes in China looking very close to the same for a quarter of the price, they told me they would be sending me a new one." And so he held on to his, and they sent him a brand new one that had an upgraded paint job. It does look great. It's more weathered. It looks a little more authentic. Mine looks a little kind of like brand new out the box, if I do say so. But because I bought it from a distributor and not from Queen Studios directly, I was told they can't help me, or there's no way for me to buy the second version. That's not something they'll openly sell, and they're done. They were numbered. So that's one of the things. Like, well, I know there's a few props on their lineup of things that John with Queen Studios had said were really on the back burner as far as a Dark Knight cowl, but it's like, okay, so once the counterfeit ones start hitting the Chinese market and people start getting them in hand, if it's close to the quality of Queen Studios, are we going to have the same thing happen all over again? And the lack of transparency. Like, Queen Studios didn't say anything about that happening. They just, any customer who reached out to them and complained, they were given a new one with the better paint.
What were you trying to show?
So this is the final battle version of the Thanos. It's not really, you can't really compare it too much, but you kind of see how much better it is. This is an SH Figure Arts versus a Marvel Legends, but this is also the same one that they reprinted at least once. But they did so much better, and it's just an example of like how long you have to wait to get the best product from some of these 1/12 guys.
You shouldn't have to wait. It's the one release and that's it.
Yeah.
I know my views. I know my views are not the most popular, but that's okay. I still love you guys.
So last but not least, we got Danny. Danny, you said you didn't need a picture, but I grabbed one of my CGCs and I was like, boom, got your picture.
Wait, you cracked it?
No, so I got this from a Comic-Con. I forget which Comic-Con. One of those Comic-Cons, but
Earlier this year, you showed us, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right. I
yeah.
remember this story.
yeah, someone was grading it, took it out, let me keep the empty box. I don't know. I never seen it like empty like that before, so I was like, I just keep it.
That is weird.
Use it as a piggy bank. Just put your.
I just put it in front of me all the time and put 10.0 on it. So
Wow.
I guess like you asked me what's the current debate. It's not current. It's just kind of like ongoing debate for CGC is it's always the inconsistency in grading and the subjectivity of it, I guess. Because like there's times where it's all subjective. So like people have I mean, that's actually a good picture because people get a grade back and it's like 9.6, or if they did pre-screen, they get it. They don't get it the 9.8 pre-screen, so they resubmit it. Or if they get a 9.6, they'll crack it and resubmit. And then sometimes people get their 9.8s.
Oh, F that. I'd be
So
pissed if I got a 9.6 and then find out later that I turned it in again and got a 9.8 and I didn't do nothing.
It's just
Yeah.
it's up to the subjectivity of the. I mean, like I've said before, it goes through 3 different graders and then they combine the scores. They average the scores out to get the final grade. So
Depends
Danny,
on
you
what
did
they
say
have for
last week
breakfast.
that like a 9.6 to a 9.8, the price could jump up like significantly.
yeah, there's there's certain books where let's say an average 9.8 book, usually like a no name title, like let's say it's just a cool cover, but there's nothing driving it like key appearances or anything. Like it can go anywhere from like $80 to $100.
Yeah.
A
I
graded
see
book
that.
on eBay, typically. But
Even then,
if
though,
you have a
you're not
9.6,
making-
it's like $30, which is the $30 to $40, which is the grading. So it's almost double. But then there's times where like a 9.6 is $300 and a 9.8 is like $1,000, so it's almost triple. So it just depends on the popularity of the title. Also, I mean the book itself, wanting it to be 9.8.
I keep hearing this like in the background all the time. If you, I know it's probably not true, but like, is it true? Like, if you put a $20 bill inside the book and like,
No, it doesn't work. Well, I mean, okay, this is the thing. Okay, like a lot of people debated this is if you send in just on a regular batch, which you pay like let's say let me look it up. Like just the normal modern tier, which is 1975 to present time, it's usually around, depending, like if you go through CGC yourself or if you go through a presser, it's like anywhere from $40 to $60 with shipping. If you add on shipping both ways, back and forth. So
I mean, that's not just adding on shipping. Like, that's part of, like, if you're going straight through CGC yourself, I mean, you're paying shipping and handling there and back.
yeah, but
Like,
okay, like the-
average 40. When you said $40, I'm like, dang, that's a deal, because working at the shop, I mean, we're going right off the CGC forums, and like modern books were getting out of there at 60 to 70, 80 almost. I mean, if you added here or there, if you wanted fast tracking, if you wanted
It's even more.
CCS and all that kind of stuff, but
Oh yeah, and that's also including pressing. Usually, that's the price including with pressing. So, like that's the thing is okay. Like they're saying like if you just normally send it in, then you're gonna get the grade no matter what. So if the graders look at it and they're like, oh, it's not a 9.8, they're gonna give you the 9.6 or 9.4. But there's this thing called pre-screen, so you can send batches of 25 comics at minimum. And you can set the limit at, okay, let's say I don't want anything under 9.8 or 9.6, 8.0, whatever. You can set it up to, up to 9.8, I guess. Or I guess you can even set it for 10.0, but that's pretty ambitious. So they say, okay, like if you do a pre-screen of 9.8, a whole batch of 25, supposedly they're more inclined to be lenient, because what are they going to do? Oh, and if they don't pass, it's only an $8 charge for just grading the book. So like they look at it like some people think, oh, what do they want? The $8 or $24, which is the normal tier without pressing. So that's
so if
almost
you do pay more. So
yeah. So
it's-
like
it's
there's
less-
just kind of like a thing where people think, oh, they want to, they might be a little bit more lenient on a 9.6 that's close to a 9.8. But I'm sure like 9.4, if there's something 9.4 and under, they're not gonna. Their reputation's on the line. They're not gonna let it pass. But I've seen some weird books that look 9.4 in a 9.8 case.
Does pre-screen have a minimum that you have to send in?
It's 25. You have to have it at minimum 25 issues or books.
Okay.
So they're saying
Yeah.
like they might, like I've seen plenty of YouTube videos of these comic collectors they sent it in on a regular batch with other tiers. I mean, like they weren't specifically going for 9/8, but some of them they were, and they didn't get them. But then once they put those comics right back into the file, sent them straight back to CGC, but did the pre-screen, they all came back 9/8.
Really?
Yeah.
Because if they were to do 25 books at $8 a piece, Fall 25 came non 9/8, you're looking at $200
Yeah.
versus.
That's really good.
Versus 24 a book at minimum.
But still, they're not going to do 24 a book. You know what I'm saying? They'll mix match it. They won't
Yeah, of
give
course.
you know what I mean? They're not going to give you a 9.8 just to get
Yeah.
the $25.
Like
but-
I said, they're not gonna like. I'm just saying that threshold of like a 9.6 to 9.8. It's very minuscule.
yeah.
But a 9.4, you can kind of tell. Like there's gonna be definitely one sort of spine wear. Yeah.
Spineware, that sounds like a virus.
Wow.
Is it something I've always been curious, even though I imagine it's difficult to get away with? But have people seen that either sellers or through the community graded comics have come back where it looks like it was tampered with? Like someone opened the case for like a 9.8, stuck a 9.4 book in there, and then just sent that 9.8 off to get regraded?
That would be really hard to do.
Well, CGC
Because it's also
cases.
in the what is it, the thing that has the Newton ring sometimes, like they have it in plastic again once you go through the acrylic, and I
Yeah,
can't
there's
imagine it's open.
There's an inner well that
Okay.
the gap. I don't know what is the air and the plastics, whatever is rubbing, so it makes those little Newton rings. A lot of people don't like that too, so they just keep on giving CGC a hard time to resubmit. But I don't know. It's just
I got
Part
my what was it? It was my first set. I think I had a first Sentinel. No, it was the first Super Scroll. I got it graded, and it came back with like a massive scratch on it. You know, like in the inner capsule part, like it was like on the underside of the capsule. Like you couldn't even feel it on the top. It was on the underside of it, and I didn't notice until a while later, and they wouldn't let me set it back because it was like some extra time or whatever.
oh wow.
So you have to pay like the 20 to get it reholdered.
Yeah, 20,
Yeah, you'd have to do
20 or
it.
25. I forgot how much it is.
I only
Yeah,
buy mine through like eBay, but then like I've also had instances where like I had the same experience, Sean, where it came damaged in the back, even though in the pictures it looked like flawless.
Right.
So
That's
luckily
probably
when
due
mine,
to shipping.
yeah, but I'm not gonna like keep it with all that damage. I just usually
Yeah.
just go like, hey man, like you should. Sometimes the way they package it too is kind of atrocious. Like it's
Yeah, they
you
don't-
put it on a plastic bag and then you put it like in an envelope or something. You're like,
Some people don't care. I mean,
Yeah.
they're dumb.
Well,
Like,
Well, I
I've
mean,
never
they are.
sent-
I mean, it's just you
But-
kind of have to send it the way you would want it sent
Right.
to you. That's how I always go at it. Like when I want to send, like especially a collectible. I mean, even if it's only $5, it's like it might be something that's worth sentimentally to, or not sentimentally. I guess it's like nostalgic, or yeah, it is sentimental to you. Like you still want it to get to the other person like how you would want it. Is how I always go at it.
yeah, yep.
Right.
But like the debate is inconsistencies
In the
with
grade, yeah.
with grading. So I don't know, man. Like there's no. I feel like if it does, I'm sorry, CC, to bring this up, but if it's not AI, grading these, it's human error.
Yeah, it's always
True.
it's the subjectivity. I mean, like there's another thing with the because they were so CGC was so behind on their grading that they had to bring in a whole new like crop of new graders, and so it took like a few months for them to just kind of like all of them to get in sync to the right grading.
And that was even
formats.
pre-pandemic.
Yeah, so like you have those inconsistencies there of like having a brand new staff, group of staff grading.
We had to always tell people with CCS, I go like you're looking at least 2 or 3 months delay and then grading.
yeah, it's crazy.
CGC is in my hometown, So I've debated just telling my mom, like, hey, all those comic books I left back home, do you just want to just drop them off?
Yeah.
How does that work though? Like if you're local to Florida, and I guess just shipping there and back, I guess it's significantly cheaper, or is it?
I don't
I
know.
mean,
I haven't.
can I go there and just like pick up my book and be like, "Hey, I'm here for my book."
I think
No,
they've said on their website, I haven't reached out to them, but I think they say, like, hey, we don't take just
yeah,
like
they don't.
dropping them off. But that being said, it's a small, like, they only have one comic book shop in that county.
Right.
So it, like, just going to that comic book store and being like,
It's
hey,
funneling.
yeah, like, I'm sure you have an account with them. Like, can I just drop them off
Right.
here? And I don't even know if they would charge you.
Can you bring Arcs comment? I guess.
Danny, have you ever bought a book that was trimmed to remove damage? Is that
Well,
kind of thing
that's the
viewed
thing is that
worse?
you don't want that. That's called restored.
Restoration.
Yeah, restoration.
Okay.
So if I sent that in, but I mean, you wouldn't know unless I checked every page, and I'm not gonna go to that crazy extent. I mean, I would for like, let's say, an older book that's worth more, but then I wouldn't too because at the point, if I'm investing into a comic, I'm making sure it's CGC'd already.
Right.
Because it's not worth the risk of getting a restored comic at that value and age.
Yeah.
Right.
And that would come back as a purple label if you were to
Yeah, it'd
send
be a
it out.
purple label of death, which no one
But
wants.
you know what though? If it is a really rare book, like that might be your only opportunity to buy. I mean, we had a restored first Black Panther, and it sat for a long time, and then one day it was gone, and they're like, the guy was like, I can't risk missing out on this book.
Yeah, I mean, some people just don't need grades.
They like the
I
art.
mean, they just
Oh, it's interesting. I didn't know that.
Scammers buy restored books, crack the case, then sell them on eBay.
Great.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna have a whole.
Well, that's the thing is, okay, if you look at that case, there's no way you can reseal that and make it look like it was the original.
Right.
That's the good thing about CGC and CBCS. It's like once you crack those cases,
It's not metaphorically cracking it. It's like the thing is like destroyed. Like you
yeah,
can't.
like you're breaking the pins at each corner. So, or at least two corners to get the book out. So, as long as you know to look for that, you should be okay. Like PGX, I've heard the company is just stay away from them.
bottom
they-
tier.
I've heard I heard it's just a guy working out of his garage,
Wow.
and he's done
And what
things where
company is this?
PGX,
I've never heard of it.
it's like number 3. There's only four books I think right now that are four companies. It's CGC is number 1, obviously. CBCS is number 2, but it's even considerably way low down. I don't even think they'll ever catch up to CGC.
It's just reputation.
Yeah, and then there's PGX, and then there's this new company EGS, I think it is, or EGX, EGC, or EGS, I believe.
And there's
never
Brand
heard of
X.
So
Wow.
can I ask you some questions about the purple label of death? Because I'm trying to figure out why it would be so unappealing. Because I agree with Sean, where it's like, hey, if you know your only chance of having that book at a price that you can afford is if it's restored, then I don't know why you wouldn't want it. Unless, of course, it's kind of like, I've been trying to think of an analogy. Like if you see a Shelby Cobra driving them down the street and it looks pristine, and you're just like, that's a kit car. Like that's clearly not an original Shelby Cobra.
Yeah, I kind
So
of.
therefore, you kind of have to chuckle. So is that the same thing where it's like it's just not as big of a status symbol as it should be because it's a purple label?
I think the purple label is
frowned
just so.
upon?
Well, I mean, it's not frowned upon. I guess it's everyone has a different. Like, okay, for me, my take, I wouldn't even touch a purple label. I'd rather have the book raw,
I didn't
even if
agree
it's
with that.
restored.
Oh,
Like,
interesting.
there's no point in having it graded
Right.
for me.
Oh,
Like,
I guess that
just
makes
have.
sense.
I'd rather have that blue or yellow
It's
or
almost more of a shock
pedigree.
if you were to
label.
send it and get a purple label than to send it at all, because a
Yeah.
That
lot of
makes- okay.
times you can't even tell that there's been some kind of restoration towards it. You know, like if there's been some ink added just barely somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're like heartbroken because
Okay.
you got that purple label.
But there are some people that go after the purples. I don't. Everyone's different. Or there's the green labels, which there's missing. It's obvious there's missing something. Like a missing page or a stamp.
or the stamps.
Yeah, what are
The tattoos.
the Marvel stamps.
Yeah, the Marvel stamps.
So I'd rather have a green label than a purple label for some reason.
There's too many colors.
Or just not labeled at all, like you said, and that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying-
just keep it. Pretty much, I just keep it raw. Like, wow.
I think it's just because getting
I rather have it loose.
It's true, Ark. It's true.
probably because getting a book restored and then sending it in just seems really like ostentatious.
Like Sean said that right. Like, if you are sending in a book and you're thinking it's there's nothing wrong with it, getting that purple is gonna just be heartbreaking.
Like it's
But if-
different if you would have known like something was cut out
Yeah.
or you know something was missing out of it. Like you know going in that you're sending it that way.
But I do understand if people are sending in books too, like to get a purple. I mean, I understand they might be wanting to just keep it. Like, let's say if it's
Pristine.
like a Batman #1.
Yeah, I'll take that.
All right,
purple.
Detective 27, Detective Comics 27, first Batman. If that's restored, I still those I would take a purple label because I would just want it encapsulated so it's it's pristine and you don't have to worry about it degrading
And-
even more.
Yeah.
Without question.
On
I
something
changed
like
I
that.
changed my point. If it's like one of those like golden age books of first appearances, then yes, I will take a purple label.
You would almost want to buy it that way though, like already graded, whether it was purple or green or whatever, because sending like maybe you bought it raw and it cost you $3,000 and that is like the max limit you can go, and then you'd look into CGC and if it's past a certain price range, then you're paying a percentage on the book to get it graded, as opposed to here's this set price of like, okay, it costs this much to get it graded, it costs this much for shipping and for this and for that.
Yeah.
Danny, it's a crazy world you're living in. So
Yeah.
keep.
I just
safe
try and
out
keep
there,
it
man.
simple.
Yeah.
Blue and yellow labels 9.8. Just kidding.
Nah, man, you're always the guy I go to for questions like that. So
I try to help, but I don't know everything. I go to Sean. I go to other people too. There's a lot of other people that know way more.
Yeah. Sure.
well, that's the second topic.
What the hell?
I have 5 topics I thought I was gonna do in one show, but of course, like even with the second episode, the second topic barely got out. But
It's good to stagger it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Like,
Go
it's
with the
actually working
cliffhanger,
out.
What is it?
Yeah, right. Do you guys want to know what's next week's topic? I guess really quick.
Sure.
So next week we'll talk about selling, trading, buying. How is that for your collections?
Oh.
So
Selling
good.
reissues, buying
Especially for
reissues, trading
CGC.
reissues. Right.
I mean, we hinted at it a little bit here and there, but I'm sure there's a lot more to it. When
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's a good topic.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for maybe next one if we start talking about something that sounds like topic number 4. Steve is just gonna mute our mics, and then be like, "Oh, we can't hear you."
Play the music.
Yeah.
Dude, the sales. The next topic might be a 2-parter. Do you think we'll
Yeah.
be able to fit it in one episode?
I think so. Statues is simple, man. People like, are either mad about it or they're mad about it. You know?
No,
They're
statue
mad or
collectors
they're
are just
really
mad.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it's statue collectors are different, man. But this is exactly why I love. I wanted to have this. It like opens up your perspective a little bit more on everything, and then like you also see that not only in the statue community or statue world, like we're looking at at a certain issue, but so is everybody else. You know, everyone's running into the same thing. But Sean, thanks again, man, for joining. I learned a lot about Thanos. I never even thought about like multiple releases, so that was cool. That's kind of scary though. Like, hopefully that doesn't happen to us. And John, man, like reissues, like
It's
I'm not
okay,
gonna say anything
everybody
else.
already
It's heartbreaking. It's okay.
Well, when he sends me a message on Christmas and says like "Merry Christmas," I'm gonna be like, "You did this last year, so this is a reissue."
That's fine.
Yeah,
I
right.
won't send it this time. I think last year I put a tree. This year I'll put a turkey.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, just have to upgrade it so it's not a reissue. I see.
God,
Okay,
Cece's such a Grinch. My God. So mean.
you're not wrong.
I like the Grinch.
And CC, I know we didn't get like way into the AI thing. I think,
I think we
but
did.
like, you think we did?
I think we did.
But I think yeah, next week should be interesting. I wanna see what you think about buying, selling, and stuff like that. Trading. I wonder if you guys trade amongst yourselves, but I don't know how that works. And Danny, CGCs, man, like another level to that world. Like I
Yeah.
can't believe sometimes. It should
don't
be
know,
just graded, accept it, and that's it. Like, but
As weird as
there's
it is-
so many variables to it.
CGC comics in general is the least stressful hobby I have, collecting hobby.
Awesome. Well, you guys, thanks again. I'm gonna let everyone else go. We hit an hour and 41 minutes. Like, I don't know how, but I'll see you guys on the next one. I don't know if it's gonna be later this week or next week. I'll try to schedule a load up again. But thanks again, you guys, and have a great night, you guys.
Good night, guys.
See ya.